Shut her down.
Channel 5, come on up! That's the shit you're talking about!
Jam!
About what's going on in our representative government. Don't you? I do. I'm tired of being lied to as a public person and as a private person. The text says all this.
Exactly. We can sit here. I've got the research. And like fucking sit here until talk to them blue in the face.
Well,
and
here's
stuff.
the thing. Every culture since way back has got the story of the Lee people, the Pixies, the Tree Fairies, this, that, and the other thing. The most famous and well known is leopard.
Hi there.
Okay. The thing of it is, guess what?
They do not do investigative reports contrary to their own common sense and common belief. They are forced by corporate censorship in order to report only what they are allowed to report. In the early days, when they founded this country, the British knew exactly what to do. The first thing that they did in the 13 colonies, anytime they took possession of a town, was confiscate the printing press. There was only 34 newspapers in the colonies at that time. Over the period of time of British occupation, they confiscated the press and did one other thing. Made it so you could not buy or find paper. At this time, if you were found with a flyer, if you were found with any news item whatsoever, it was an instant death sentence. You were put to death. It's kind of funny that only 5% of those at that time were literate. That would include only the government officials and the clergy. So when these people were found with a poem or a child's story, by authority given to those that could not read, was put to death. We are here in order to defend that difference, in order to make that change that happened over 200 years ago. It was 200 years ago, 1776, over 200 years ago. We celebrated this in 1976. Why is it that after this period of time that we've had a degradation of our press? Why is it that if a reporter comes in and breaks the solemn oath to the corporate, they are fired? The reason is because they're isolated. The other reporters fearing for their jobs will back down. They will not attend or object. These reporters that are going out and have risked their lives for years and years are now subject to government censorship. This is unallowable. We cannot have our freedom of press and those that are paid in order to preserve and educate the people perverted in this manner. These people are honorable, they are educated, and they need defending. In 1938, the German propaganda engine showed that the homeless are a problem, showed that the mentally ill are a problem. There was posters, dissemination across radio stations, and a perverted point of view that was promoted by the German propaganda machine that forced these reporters in order to make a public allowance to round up these people and place them in camps. Amazingly, this only just recently happened in South Carolina. It was made illegal in order to be homeless in South Carolina. They provided no help, forcing the homeless to remain homeless. After which they passed laws at the local level, making it so a homeless person could not walk down the street and violated their rights. After doing so, they rounded up these homeless people and they placed them in the first known FEMA camp. They were trying to justify it. They could not justify the use of this FEMA camp, and after all, it's unused. There's 240 beds there. Let's help the homeless. Okay, let's help the homeless. By the way, they walked in with the cameras and they showed how nice a FEMA trailer could be. Room in order to sleep 6, a refrigerator that now has food. How could a homeless person object to this? If you tried to leave the trailer and go into town, you were stopped. You had to apply to leave that camp for 3 days ahead of time to be able to leave the gate of that camp, only because the crime was homeless. Why is it that the American press has not reported this violation, basic violation, the exact duplication of Nazi propaganda happening only in this last week was it closed? It was discovered. Someone leaked it. It was not the American press. It was private individuals that did the jobs of the reporters of this station, that did the job and the research and the investigation that this station claims and has thousands and thousands of dollars a week for payroll and effort in order to find out these truths. Instead, the local press was forced in order to report, oh look, we're doing something for the homeless. When contacted, Channel 5 refused comment. Do you know what that means? That means they have no defense. They have nothing to say. They fear for their jobs. They fear for the American government to come in here and put pressure on the corporate heads and lose their jobs. This is not a free press anymore, folks. We're here in order to give these reporters the power of the press back. We are not here to object to them. We understand them.
Help us help you.
We need your cooperation. We will stand behind you. All of America is under this attack.
All the
This is only the position of the corporate media, not those that are working for it. You need not fear your jobs. We can help you stand. If the reporter that knows exactly the report that you were preparing and you ask permission to air it, and the other reporters will not rush that office saying how strongly they feel and defend not only your report but your job, then we have a problem. It is a divide and conquer. As long as it's just one individual and the others will not speak out, that is how our press will fall.
I can actually read like body language. I can tell like a person like by talking face to face.
Who owns America?
We do.
Who made America?
We do.
Who built the civil courthouse over here?
We did.
Same tax, same dollars that are coming from my brothers and sisters over in Afghanistan. Obama promised to take us out of Afghanistan. Why aren't we still there?
Dude, record opium production. Did you hear about that?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading down to the corner right there.
I don't know.
Sidewalk's public property. We own this.
Exactly.
Taxpayers' dollars own the sidewalk.
Exactly. I don't know. He just said let's move. I don't know where we're moving.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving. We are going down on the corner, please.
actually had an extra sign.
Well, no, they're following the guy with the megaphone, even though he's fucking No, he came in last time. When he's got the megaphones, they're following him.
There's been a recent release by the Nuremberg Commission. The Nuremberg Commission is those that are responsible for tracking war criminals. They actually track them down. The U.S. has been for years looking for escaped Nazis. And they have found them, and they have brought them to justice. Even if they are 86 years old, they are turned over immediately to the international authorities. Nazi war criminals in America are still an issue, are still being found. Only 3 years ago in New York, they have found another guard from the... what was it? I didn't get my information a little bit, but it was one of the major Nazis camps. Dang it!
Oh, come on, that's too common. What was it? I saw it.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's the reason why we need Channel 5, because they'll get these facts right, and I'm depending on my memory at this time. That's what they need to research, is to show the atrocities and the fact that there is actually an international warrant for a gentleman that is now protected by the United States. He has been declared a war criminal. He nearly missed being arrested in Canada 3 times. He was sitting on an airplane in Sweden with armed guards around the aircraft that had diplomatic immunity from the U.S. President Obama talked to the Swedish authorities and asked them to allow that airplane to leave. This was reported on the A&P. Why is it that it was not reported by Channel 5? Do you know who this war criminal is? George W. Bush. The first president in the history of the United States to ever be accused of a war crime, and he was found guilty. Why is it that Channel 5 chooses not to point this out to the people? An international war criminal, George W. Bush, remains free and unfindable by the international authorities because the public doesn't know it. Channel 5, we're here to help.
Help us, help you!
We need you in order to pick up the A&P.
Don't support professional liars.
We need you to actually report what is on the A&P. You claim that you only read what is on the A&P. Is it stopped overseas? Is it not allowed to come across your teletype? Is this not a newsworthy story that your A&P teletype has been shut down? The only difference in time when it came off the printer press and those teletypes was less than 30 seconds and only a sentence away to be read in its entirety. There used to be a seal of good reporting that was placed at the end of every day's broadcast. If you are over the age of 30, you will know that that was there. It was broadcast every night at sign-off. What has happened to our good reporters and their standards?
risk of us in your house or apartment, you won't get cockroaches. If you leave out some cockroaches, you get cockroaches. You can't even leave out a little bit, man. Yeah, you leave out poison.
We cannot allow this to happen. These people are good people. They deserve our support.
Not enough. Not enough. We were taught that capitalism was a good thing.
When the news channel gets on the air and they say, oh my God, terrorists here, terrorists there. Can anyone identify what a terrorist is? Or define one in a very short sentence? In the most simple fashion, a terrorist is someone that will take your liberty, your life, to infringe upon your rights. That is the definition of a terrorist that has been determined since before World War II. Why is it that our news channel does not report the fact that we have now terrorists in our own government, that they wish to infringe upon your liberty, upon your rights? Instead, they hold to the fear that the government wishes to propose on us for us to give up our rights. I allow the government.
It's Democratic Party propaganda!
There's even a collective in the military that's against. Just like, do you know about Sergeant Charles Dyer? You ever heard of him? He's the guy, do you remember?
Those generals, there's a bunch of, they went to the Russian flat wall.
There's a kid going on.
They generally fired over at this door.
Just like they're getting paid to disarm the Americans.
In 1750 to 1780, we established the American press as something that will not be tampered with. That is the people's press, that is honest, and upholds the ideals of American public. We now have a press that the reporters are hassled and warned not to report in your favor, not to report the truth. In Nazi Germany, the first thing they did was take over the press. In recent history, when this station did not report, South Carolina opened the first FEMA camp for the homeless. This is the same method used in Nazi Germany, used by the propagation that the homeless and mentally ill must be contained, that they have no rights, that they are not a people purpose. Nazi Germany. Our reporters that stand together at these conferences and meetings discussing what can and cannot be reported needs your support. They cannot continue to be censored by the corporate media. Support your local TV station, your local news group. Think of difference. I think people try to put on a report that is not in the agenda of the government.
Meet us
that
at
is
the
not
Hooters?
in the agenda of the corporate masses.
It's on the edge of the park.
They will be fired.
If not, I'll come out and look for it. Hey, you
If this happens in your state, if this happens in your community, it's up to the people their property only. This would go for East-West Gateway Council of Governments and KMOV Channel 4 at the Gateway Tower. They have illegally asked us to vacate a public easement. If you choose, in order to actually uphold the good seal of broadcasting, we support you. We will support your reporters. We will support those that will expose the truth and do true investigative reporting. In South Carolina, the first FEMA camp was open. It did not last more than 30 days. As soon as the public and the nation found out about it, they closed the first FEMA camp
giving out these flyers
on American soil.
We're just letting everyone
You
have a
have
chance to
our
read over
support.
these.
This
Some
report
spread some
came
anarchist
to the
ideas out
Associated
here
Press.
about getting rid of these hierarchies, these
You will
oppressive
not
systems like
fired
corporate media.
for doing
If
true,
you're interested in that.
unbiased reporting. You are protected by 18 U.S.C. 245 and the exercise of the First Amendment. If the corporate fires you, they are liable for up to 10 years based on that report in a federal prison.
Food nut bombs. We're an anti-war.
This is government censorship. It is enforced by the federal marshals. They are in a bind. We support them as well.
People around the world
What is anonymous?
has more funding than
We are professional in our fields. We are electricians. We are communication specialists. We are reporters. We are lawyers. If you get in trouble, contact Anonymous. We will come to your aid.
instead of bottom. So,
Oh, yeah.
Well said, sir. Thank you.